Okay, it's 5:17, but it changed to 5:18 while I was looking, which my, the person who I think is my, um, I don't know what to call it. It's like a match. It's like a vibrational match. Their birthday is the 17th and mine's the 18th. So anyways, when I see that 17 to 18, 17, 18, I don't know why. It just always is like, reminds me of that. But it also reminds me that this daylight savings time is such idiotic bullshit. Like, I can't even freaking believe it. My mom was complaining about losing the hour and being so exhausted and needing that time. And I was like, I don't, it seems like they just want to show us all the time, like, we're so divided, we can't even fucking agree on if we want more time. And that one person in my thing who told me, oh, you're getting all upset about an hour? It's like, it is 4 fucking hours of daylight. What are you talking about? It's the difference between 4:30 in the afternoon and 9:30 at night. 5 hours. How the hell does that happen for their 1 fucking hour, man? They just happen to know what day to do it. It spreads it out. And this last year, I heard so many people all of a sudden notice that. But man, it's been like that over here forever. If it is the one, if it's the winter day time, whatever, if it's the winter time frame, that we get so little light over here. It is like, it gets light at 8:30 in the morning, and then it goes dark at 4:30, which I don't understand. If the argument is, well, kids should be able to go to school when it's light out, change the fucking schools. Change the fucking schools. If 8:30, it's still dark, and then 4:30, so they don't get very much time. I don't know. I mean, it makes no sense to me. And I know, like, right now, or all this week, I would say, like, the past 2 weeks, the time had been kind of getting lighter. So it was up to like 5:30 and it was still light outside, where it was like, dang, it's still light. And daylight savings time's right here, but it's going to push it out. At first, it will seem like around 8:30, 9 o'clock is when it gets dark. And then it will spread to about 9:30. But then there's a period of time when it's like 10 o'clock at night. To me, there's no question. And I swear to God, I'm going to pay attention this morning what time it is actually. But I swear to God, it is like 7 or 7:30. So I don't understand this argument. We either get fucking hibernation day or we get a nice, bright, sunny day. Where's the fucking argument, man? Like, it makes such a difference. And I just can't even believe that person. I said, are you joking? Like, where do you live? It makes an hour difference. It's fucking 4 or 5 hours difference in daytime. Like, what the fuck? Like I said, I don't know if they rule this fucking world. And oh man, this was sometimes the gap of, what I see and what other people's reality is so huge. And I, being, and I know there's other people who go through the experience, but being on one side of the gap, you, it's like you're the only one over there, and there is some other ones, but you don't know them, they're far away. But, you're standing up. The way I see it is like this big, like, gully, but it's concrete. It's artificial. It's man-made. And it's one of those things, like those sewer things. So it's this cement gully, and it goes around. And on one side of it, you have a huge amount of people. And on the other side, it's just a few scattered. And so, oh, yeah, okay, because I was questioning something. I was questioning, yeah, but what about there's more people or whatever? Well, for a long while, it was the fringe people, which I always found was big on the ufology community. I know that there was other ones, but that one was basically the biggest one, the biggest draw for the people who were like, thinking out more outside the box. But that didn't necessarily mean they became more connected spiritually. And I don't know to what degree it is, this certain people. I just know through my own life experience the things that people thought I was weird about. Because I was all in on everything. And so I talked about ghosts, I talked about reincarnation, I talked about aliens, I talked about, everything being supernatural and stuff. And, people thought I was just weird. Like, people would just be like, or sometimes, depending on who they were, they would tell me, I was crazy. There was a few people along the way, that would talk about stuff. And you wouldn't find them unless you talk about it. Or if I heard somebody else talking, I'd always go over and start talking to them about that stuff. But, it was very few people, and I don't know their experience. But to me, it was anything you talked about that wasn't mainstream was weird. Like, something was wrong with you. And so that was like this one side was the people who were considered to be weird, they thought different and stuff. And so, okay, I got to see it how it was shown. Okay, and so then over here was the mainstream, the main of all of the people who, to me, it's so three-dimensional, it's so of the flesh. That's what's one thing that's so trippy. And so, oh yeah, so, okay, yeah. Because the one people, even though they don't believe in God and stuff, they are indulgent into the fetishes and the things that feed the flesh, that feed this way. It's like a connection, a wave stream or something inside of them, which it must be like part of the ego thing. And so those people feed off of that too. But anyway, so that group of people is over there. We have this divide. And then there's, as awakening happens, it is pushing all these people over. So it's like the two sides are switching. So right now, it's way more of the smaller amount of people, even though it seems like the loudest voice, but it's the smallest amount of people who don't see certain things, because all the people don't see everything. And that's one thing that really trips me out. And I've said before, and there's so many conversations that I'll have, and I'll just be like, man, how are you going to break this program? I'm not me, but how is the person? How are they going to break this program? It's so fucking insidious. And religion, I was thinking so much about this yesterday, so let me think if I can remember some of this stuff, or if I can see it again, like how I was, because sometimes like you're seeing it, it's like, but let me see. So, because the religion, like created, because it's a cult, it's trippy because it's a cult and they don't realize, but oh my God, it is the same thing. Oh yeah, okay. Because I was thinking how it's so limiting to your mind. It's like makes parameters. And I was thinking in the spiritual, like in the true spiritual, like these people, like that's where you got to use your own discernment over, the truth behind spirituality. It goes through you. And so, you listen to these people, and sometimes you may follow for a while, and all of a sudden you're like, this makes no sense, or they're not doing it, or whatever, and it leads you in a different direction. That doesn't mean you went in the wrong direction because there was something you learned. So you do exactly what you're supposed to do. So don't feel like, yeah, I got suckered. Don't put that label on it. No, you learned by, following along on this person's path, and you saw, and it woke you up in some kind of way. But anyways, because the true spirituality isn't so many rules. Like one thing that they've done, oh, you gotta be vegan, oh, you gotta be living your best life and all that stuff. I mean, as everybody's lives are falling apart, which I saw somebody on the thing yesterday, and they said you know, something about that. Why is everybody's like, could somebody spiritual explain to me why everything is falling apart and all that stuff? And so it's because we're in the ending. We're still in the ending. Everybody's got to let go of their old shit. And it's what, you know, like what's coming forward with me is like a wagon train full of stuff. And I'm still like, until I'm moving it in a place, I don't even know if it's going to make it. For all I know, a fire, a tornado, anything could sweep in and take everything. So you got to let go of shit. And even people, because at this time we're still in a time of loss. We're still in a time of an ending. And then it goes through the releasing. Like that's what we're in, is this releasing of the ending. And yeah, like just to get visual things. So anyways, then but then we're going into the beginning. But the beginning, there's a bridge. It's not just the ending, the beginning. It's like you have to cross the bridge, like the gap. Yeah, the micro macro. You have to cross the gap. You have to go to the other side. And that is what we are going to do. That's the dark to the light. It's trippy too because it's darker over there. It's like darker, and this fridge is white, so it's like light. It is like dark to light. God, that's so trippy. But anyways, yeah, it's dark to light. And then it is, but there's a gap in between, and that's the one I keep trying to guide people through, is the part of releasing what you were holding on to, and recognizing your bad patterns, your programming and stuff. But this religion program is just so, oh my God, it is so binding. It is such a fucking trap of the mind. I just, oh God dang. I said before, like I've said this a zillion times, so I'm just going to keep on saying it, is the thing, we're in the healing, where the people are we're going to see the most freak outs is going to be over the medical. It's going to be over people who lost wives, not wives, you know, there's going to be all things. Some of them are going to be wives that are old, some will be, and they've been together for 70 years. It's going to be a lot of really heart-wrenching stories. Oh, we're going to hear a lot of heart-wrenching stories, man. Those things kill, man. But that's where the most, and I think that the team that's trying to walk us through, they're going to get people more directed in a financial, like, suing these things. I think because there's going to be tons of lawsuits, because they've already started. You can just see it. It just keeps growing and growing. I can just see it. It's growing and growing. I can just see it. So there's going to be tons of those. And it's going to also be a part of the wedge or the edge. It's going to take down the corporation, because they're all going to fucking go bankrupt. And they could already be doing that already. And that could be where we start seeing like insurance companies go down. All these different things are all going to go down. Everything that goes down. And see, this is what's so weird, is like, as he's taking things down, people start freaking out. Oh, we got to have that. We got to have that. He's ruining us. It's like, no, he's trying to get us out from under some fucking bricks, man. And so, this shit is all corrupt. At the same time, you have Elon telling about all the fucking corruption, the misspending, the laundry system, and these people just keep on, no, he's ruining our minds, oh God. And we got these other countries, please let us in, let us join. We want to be a part of it. And so, and it's going to be a wave, because what the wave is not just like O'Donnell, it's what he represents. He started a movement. He's here to create a movement. And his movement was towards freedom, unity, and love and stuff. And I was thinking on the religion thing, I was thinking, because they talk so much about God and bringing God back and following Jesus or the Bible or whatever. They talk so much about that, which puts off the one team. But on the other side, you know, it puffs up the, but how I was seeing it was like, but that gains trust. So that's an easier, because something comes from a peer, it is a lot more, you know, when it's not as opposing, it's not an opposing force when it's a peer. And it's like, can you believe it? Can you believe what's going on? So, and because they are already talking to the galactics and stuff, like they already are talking to other beings and multi-dimensional being, like they're already in it. So it's not like new to them. They know, you know, what this world is. They know that we're dealing with these fucking old fucking vamps and all this shit. They know that. And so, so they know the hidden truth. But our world has been based on this thing. We got a huge amount of people, and it is like a cult. It's like a complete mind control. And it puts them off from themselves, and people don't realize it. And so so for them to kind of walk them through it, so as however they're gonna do this, because I think it seems it's kind of like them coming. It like fits together for us to start recognizing and seeing. But see, that is where in this other group, because I guess it says this is going to happen in the Bible or Revelations or something, and it's the great deceivers and stuff, which is very creepy, because that is what, to a lot of people, then my role is very different. Like, it's two different perspectives, very different. Very, very different. Oh God, it trips me out. So anyways, but I was like, oh, that would make sense if it is them to be like, like to kind of usher it, to kind of lead them. So when the things start happening, they don't start being like, it's the demons are here and then the great deceivers, and they've got to kind of, but it would have to be their own peers. It would have to be their own group. See what I'm saying? So anyways, we'll see how it plays out. That's everything. Like, there's no reason to argue about anything. Everything's, we'll see how it plays out. Everybody who's getting visions, it's like, but visions, like, fuck, you don't know where they happen. Like, it's crazy. So anyways, we'll see how it plays out. But something, because it is trippy, man. Fuck. Yeah, it's such a fucking mind trap. You can't say things that, man, it's just like, yesterday, there was a bunch of different things talking about, religion and stuff. And her friend is like, all her friends are religious, all church friends. Let's talk about her now. They're all church friends and stuff. So they're all religious and whatnot. And so whatever we was talking, but we were talking about something on the way home. I don't remember. And see, on some things, spiritual, then we're totally in agreement. But then there always goes off on this different sidebar thing that is, so when it goes in that direction, then it's like, we don't agree. We both know we don't agree on that stuff. So, but, we said that in the car too yesterday, but it was over the sky. I'll tell you that one too. With the, but on the religion thing, or on the thing, it was when, like, she started saying, we all come from Noah or something. Because first she said, what are those other people? Adam and Eve, which, if you go into the Sumerian tablets, then it's Adam and Eve is like the DNA, like it's different from what I understand. I don't know. I might be getting different people's representation or interpretations mixed up. So, you got to go back and try and find out the closest you can if it's super important to you. But anyways, it was lab created, and the Adam and Eve story came from somewhere or whatever, but that could have come from 100 years ago when they started their new thing here, and they took two people and took their DNA and made us all from that. Like, how the fuck do we know what their reset thing was, and if that's when they came up with the Adam and Eve story? But because we don't know in these different time periods, and we're going to find that there's not a thing that connects them all. Different time periods. These people may have connections. These being like different groups, different tribes, different settlers or colonizers or whatever you want to call them, people from other places. They may have kind of a a cohesive kind of thread. But as far as I can understand, it's ages, it's periods of time. It's like rooms. You know, you go to this room like a freak out party where you go to this room, you got this party going, go to this room, this party's going this. It's like different realities, and but you leave that room to go to another one, and you can go through portals, but um, oh yeah, because yeah, you go through portals, so you can go back in time even where you think it's like back behind, but it's really just a thread away, a portal away. And so, anyways, that is whatever. Um, go back to this thing. So as far as I'm concerned, though, in the beginning, I go with the Sumerian thing of the one of these settler groups coming, and they were super advanced, and so then they decided to use beings here, which it was they considered to be animals. They considered them to be below them, and so they did some shenanigans in the lab, but somehow these got turned into what they call containers where souls could come in and have experiences. So there's a huge evolution of things to me that happened. And so, uh, like, like, like I don't know if animal souls are a different state of consciousness and they're just enjoying the world. And then we started through that. I started advancing our consciousness. I don't know, because you come from different places, or we're already advanced beings. So I don't know when it gets down to like I always see it as where souls came from was like this energy blow, like the Big Bang. That is like an energetic, because I think we're about to have like another kind of Big Bang, but it's like this energy, like big bang of energy, and then all this energy goes out, and then when it goes into this place of where it starts to question things, is a certain state of consciousness, and then once it starts questioning what it is, it's like falls into this this other thing of discovering itself, which is through this game. But then there's also these concepts of the heavens are being others. So it's kind of like realities have formed and formed and formed. So I don't know, that's where it all gets to be so like, fuck, it's so vast. But that is where I feel like where souls came from, where people came from, and how the soul and the people began. That's where it's like trippy. It's like, how did that? And then when it goes into this as an illusion, and then we're advanced and we're sitting up here, with goggles on to experience this, then it's like a whole nother. That's why it can just, really mess with your head. That's spirituality. That is like, you just take off. You just go. And you start trying to, see and understand who and what you are. There is no boundary. There's no parameters. And it's almost, it's not allowed in religion. I think maybe it scares them or something. I'm not sure. But that to me is the difference, is it's a cage. It holds you. You can't have an open mind. You can't just like try and figure it out through your connection of your spirit, because your spirit is connected. What's inside of you that's alive is connected outside of you to this, however you want to see it. Man, getting louder and louder. It's however you want to see your connection, how you understand your connection. And so is how you understand yourself. And see, that's where all this limitation is created. They tell you who you are. They tell you what you're doing here and all that stuff. Well, I would rather try and figure it out for myself. because what I'm told doesn't feel right. And it doesn't sound right to me. It doesn't jive with what goes on inside me. And then another thing was like on the Sumerian tablet thing. So it wasn't that I heard that and I was like, oh, I believe that. No, it was that I was told these things my whole time growing up. So I was told things in my head. I would try and tell people, and they would think I was just, crazy, making stuff up, whatever. um, I don't know from their perspective. That would be interesting in my life review to get to see what was their perspective when I was saying this stuff. I was just a little kook. So, anyways, I was seeing this stuff already. I already knew we were experimenting. I already knew like all these different things. I'd seen it. And so it was when I heard the Sumerian tablets, that was the first thing I heard that went more with the story I was told in my mind. And so that is where I was like, that is the truth. And I felt that. I knew that the whole time. Like, aliens, what the people think of as aliens, these other beings, which they're not, they're just other beings, just other beings. And this place is not like three-dimensional kind of world that they created in your mind. It is a lot more magical and supernatural. And so we move through spaces and time that meet our vibration. So it's like portals everywhere, but you have to have the vibration. It's like you can't fake it. You can't pretend, like in this weird artificial world, how everything can be pretended. Like people fucking kill somebody, take their eyeball for those cameras, cut off their finger, all sorts of crazy shit people will do in this weird artificial world to be somebody else or to get access. Or this world is just so built on, it's just filth. It's just like dark. It's like people go in here to experience the depravity or something, or just to heal from the depravity, or to see how dark they can go. Maybe it is like to understand. Everything is about the soul's motivation seems to just want to understand itself. And what was that I was watching? Yesterday I was gone like all day, but there was something that I had seen, and it was what was that? Because I was like, that is, oh yeah, okay. It was this movie yesterday morning before I went, and it I think it's called The Ritual, or something like that, or maybe that's just what the person put, and I didn't pay attention to the name. It was this old movie. It had Hal Holbrook, and he was young. It had a bunch of actors. I could recognize them, but I couldn't remember their names. And then a couple I didn't know. But anyways, the premise is I think they were all doctors, but they went on this, one of those man trip. We're going to go out in the wilderness together, and I don't even know the whole thing, why they were doing it or whatever. One of their friends had planned it though, and he had, set it all up, because that came out at some point, because weird stuff starts happening. And so, and they were all soldiers together, or a bunch of them were. And there was like, I don't know, I think there was one sibling for sure, but it could have been two brother groups. But anyways, I wasn't paying a full attention the whole time. But but what was getting me was, where I started kind of paying attention, it wasn't so much deliverance, but it was kind of like the same kind of thing. So they're way out there in the woods, in this backwoods. People start going after them. That's when you start first finding out, because first thing they do is steal their boots. And so that's where the one guy's like, I planned all this, and I told you guys to bring extra shoes. Now I gotta go, and like he had to go find a rescue team or something, because these guys didn't have shoes or something. And so that is, so he takes off on his own. And so they're all like, well, why is somebody stealing shoes? So this person keeps fucking with them. And I don't really understand why, because there's this whole army connection, and he starts killing them and everything. And it's this whole weird thing, and how Holbrook has a huge part, and he keeps having all these going back to, I don't know, they're all losing their minds. But as I was watching, I was like, this is what life is all about. See, this is why we're here. And people don't get it. So there got one challenge after another, one horrible thing. Like everything was making them show themselves who they were. Even when one guy got hurt and he could no longer walk or anything. Al Holbrook's you're not leaving a man behind. But and then he'd have these flashbacks to the war or whatever. Then the other guy was like, leave him. And I was like, oh, see, this in life, when it comes down to situations, problems, big things, it shows you what you're made of. You know, are you somebody who's going to leave him behind, or you're somebody who's like, no, we're taking him with us. I'm going to carry him if I have to. You know, and mostly, you know, we're all in between. You know, there's these two poles, but around each pole is a gravitational pull. And but the in the energy interchanges. Oh wow, that's cool. Oh, okay. Oh, like the yin and the yang, like that, where it looks like an eyeball thing, and the energy is going around, but then it loops in. And that is the discovery of experience. So, because the light and the dark feed off of each other. Man, does my throat get more clogged when I start saying something? And so that swishing of the two energies coming, but it's these gravitational pulls of these two kind of separate things, and then the pull. And it's not like these are the only two. There's two at every single turn, because everything has its own. You know, you go this way, like go on your negative path or go on your positive path. Everything is like these two things. And even on that case, you know, where somebody's like leave them behind and somebody's keep them. Even if you took both those, there's a good and a bad. There's a good and a bad. Everything has a good and a bad. And it all depends on what your experience is that you're here to learn from, what you're here to experience the repercussions or the consequences, because then you grow or you learn from it. And so but in this movie, it kept on being like, oh my God, you know, and I started thinking, always in these movies, it does really start showing like what you're made of. And the people always go in these argumentative different directions and stuff. And it really is, you know, like representation of what we come here to see about ourselves, to understand about ourselves, to see these sides of ourselves. You know, what do you do in a crisis? Are you a leave them behind? Are you a, you know, we're going to save them, no, leave nobody behind kind of person? Because it's very, you know, it's two different drives. But so, anyways, I was just totally seeing that yesterday. And that to me is what life is about. You know, why your soul comes into this experience to experience itself and to understand. And so the depravity, you know, at certain times, because I don't know, does every age turn into depraved perversion? Or is it only in certain ones because they've got that Sodom and Gomorrah? Because history does repeat, but see, it's like, but see, oh, okay. You know how I say, like, all the different perspectives and different people and different, everything is so like that. And see, I said it was like templates, like that repeats, because, okay, so it happened during this, what happens during this, what happens during this, what happens during this. And every time it's always different. It's different experience, different times. It's different things where everybody's playing these different parts. But it's like this template that plays out. So, yeah, history does repeat itself. because there are these templates. Even our life paths that we go on, like the ride, like I see it so much like life is this ride, and it's so much like going into the amusement park, and they got like 6 cars with 6 cars in this one, 6 cars in this one, 6 cars in this one. And so they have that set of cars, which I think it's usually like 3 or 4, and they whip around, you know, and it makes a difference of which seat. But and then each car usually has like enough room for 2 people, and then 3 or 4 stacked back, depends. And then probably I think they've made some of these things even more unsafe as things have gone. I mean, you have one with 6, who knows, they got all sorts of crazy shit. But anyways, but that block of cars, and then you have a second and third and fourth, and they all the same. But that's how I see it, is like when we come in, it's like these cutout templates. It's a ride. And so you are in different roles for different views of different experience, just like the front cart has a different experience than the back cart. And so you go into how these experiences, and then kind of like as the soul, it's kind of almost like, well, I did this last time, so well, you know, we'll see what I do with this time. It's like a game, man. And so the and so you go through the thing, which, you know, we create more visual, we create more perspective, because we all, like, even, you know, the front 2 people on the front cart of each cart, is they're looking at different things. Nobody's paying attention to the exact same thing. And so it's a creation of perspective all the time but it's like these templates. So it's like a ride, but it's these templates. And, you know, is it one where you're going to come in and you're going to screw everybody over? You're going to come in, you're going to screw over your mom and dad. Your mom and dad are going to be horrible. Like, it's these different ones. And then we all just come in and play these parts, because then it's like, you know, what happens to you in these, and what do you do with what happens to you. So everything is about learning about yourself, seeing yourself, understanding yourself. But anyways, when I was watching that movie, I was like, man, it is very distinct. You know, I can see very much like why the soul would want to see that about themselves, why they would want to understand themselves, and why there would be a completion where you would go in and you would re-experience it through the other perspective, so you can get more perspective. But to be able to go and re-see it again, that gives you it gives you like an opportunity to grow and to understand yourself at a deeper level. So to me, see, all that stuff makes sense, but somebody else can be like, that is the wackiest shit I've heard. And but to me, it makes total sense. And then and that this isn't us, like this body isn't us. Like, I've known that since I was a kid too. That's never been a question to me. And that's another thing I can say to people and be like, yeah, but you know you're a soul, right? And no, everybody's very flesh and blood, flesh and blood. And that also feeds into religion. I can, fuck, yeah. And so there's a lot of programming and stuff that has to be broken down, because you would think, you know, religious people would be the closest in with their soul, but they're put into a cage, a parameter of being able to perceive, and they got to close it down, shut it down. They can't go outside the box because it's vast, you know, and there's no wrong. There's no wrong. There's no right. It's just, you know, it's just you and the space, and trying to understand, what is this place and what are we doing here? And then it starts going at different levels, because at some point you realize, oh, I'm not even really here. This doesn't even really exist. Like, then you go to another level, another level, another level. And then pretty soon, yeah, you're just out here, and it's like, man, you know, I'm just color. I'm just a color out here. And I'm, you know, trying to focus here. focus on my experience so I can get the most out of it, because it's a pretty fantastic dream that you can keep yourself focused on here to the point you can feel it, to the point they can do surgery on you. like, like it's so weird, because one thing we were talking about so much yesterday, which probably is what led to the religion thing and stuff. Oh, because the magic. Oh yeah, I do want to say that. Was so the woman who we were at, her husband was just in it wasn't a fatal car accident, but it was a really deadly car accident. Um, uh, I don't know. I don't know that it's been a year. And so apparently while he was driving, there was a big wedding going on, and he must have been looking at it, and he veered across the lane and hit a truck that was coming with a trailer on the back. And the trailer crashed into the truck, like the truck got all wrecked, but those people were fine. Well, he was bad. He was in a car, and it just so happened that the person getting married was like an EMT or a paramedic. I can't remember exactly, but like a paramedic or something. And then somebody else at the wedding was like the same thing, was something. There was two people at the wedding, and I can't remember. It wasn't like a paramedic, but they were all like knew what to do in emergency. One of them was like a police chief from somewhere else. One was, I can't remember all their exact labels, but they were all first responder savvy. Three people at this crash site, and his car became like an accordion. He had to be the jaws of life to get him out, and had to be life flighted. So immediately, it was during the wedding too, the bride just takes off, and all that scream and cry. Sometimes when I see it, it's so emotional, man. And so they took off to go over there, and then they started doing stuff immediately. They called immediately and said they need jaws of life and they need a life flight. And so, man, sometimes this stuff is so emotional and so weird, as I don't see it coming, like that I'm gonna feel this strong wave of emotion. And the wife was just like, man, I mean, what is the chances of that? And you're in this horrible accident, and that you have three first responders right there in the field witness it. So they all go over immediately, start doing stuff, and but nobody thought he was going to make it. It was like he was so broken and had so many things. And so she was going through and telling us all this stuff about, because I had asked about like what happened, and it was so much stuff. And there was like magical kind of things too. She had somebody show up at her door one of the days and started asking something, and he wanted to know how he was, and she said he lived, and that guy, which I think it was the police chief one, and she said it's gonna make me burst into tears, but he burst into tears, and he said that none of them thought they were gonna make it. Nobody, the whole time. The doctors didn't, nobody was giving him. They thought he was for sure. There was way too many things wrong. His liver was cut, his spleen was cut, all his bones were broken, his face was broken. Like, he had so many things wrong. But he lived, and he's still having to get surgeries and stuff like that. And so he's still got, lots of issues, which I always look at that through, the universe trying to, or your higher self, whatever, your plan to get you to expand in some way, to see things different, to go through your healing, to be humbled. Whatever it is, it happens for a reason. It's not just by no reason, especially when you live and by all natural things. In most cases, we all think of you should have been dead, and then people think they escaped death and they near miss and stuff like that. But no, everything happens exactly the way it's supposed to happen. You can't get away from your when it's your exit time, you're going. But, like I've said before, we're leaving that kind of reality and we're moving into a different one, which is going to change all that stuff about how long we live and stuff. But it also has this leaving this three-dimensional self behind, this part of you that can die. You gotta let it go and go towards this other part of you that doesn't die, that lives on, which is, the inner part of you. And so, but that's what all this awakening is about, and about the change and stuff. But another thing that just totally trips me out, like, oh my God, this trips me out. The fucking sky. The fucking sky is so fucking wacky. It's like, oh my God, it is fucking wacky, man. And, oh yeah, the moon, it keeps doing weird shit. But the other day, I was way over here at 5:30, and I was like, so did it move over there at 9:30 and then just go down? Because it keeps being gone, too. It's really weird. And there keeps being so much stuff up in the sky when you look real hard, and you can see things further, at least like red lights blink. I used to see those all the time, too. So there's a lot, there's levels. Like there's some that are close and there's some that are farther away. There's a lot of ships out there. And, but the sky looks so fucking weird. And the way the sun, oh my God, it does not come through in the way the sun affects your eye. It's one of those LED lights or something. There's something weird about it. And, they're magnifying, they're doing something. There's something that's weird. It's not natural, it's artificial. I've been talking about for so motherfucking long. I mean, I was back on Facebook showing shit back then, a long fucking time ago. So, it was 2016 was when I started seeing the world for, what it was, I guess, apparently, because I started seeing it like we were in a three-dimensional picture. But then once I saw the Truman Show, I was like, oh my God, that is what we are. We're in this habitat thing. Because then, like, for a long time, I didn't know anything about the firmament, but we are in this captured ball thing. Like, I knew we were in a thing, but I don't know. Your knowing and stuff evolves as more information comes to you. But you got to be open-minded enough to process through the information. Can't be, oh nope, that's not true. Nope, don't, no. It's like, so yeah, the true spiritual, your mind is going to be open. It's going to just open, man. And knocking who's in there. And so that is where you want to be, to me, because once you get to mind control, who's controlling it? Why are you letting someone else control it? And who's controlling it? How's it being controlled? What's going on there? And so, isn't that succumbing to the flesh? So, yeah, there's different succumbing to the flesh. So, anyways, but that is going to be the biggest ones on the awakening. They're going to struggle. Like I said, the ones that are going to have the most anger, but those ones are going to have the hardest time of awakening to the ultimate truth. And that's the biggest trick. I mean, there's all sorts of levels of trick, but religion is so far beyond. So, anyways, that's going to be something, man, to bring those people out of it. But even, when we were driving, so, like, say, we all come from nowhere or whatever, so, I just don't say anything, because, I'm just like, I believe something different. And I used to say, like, I told her, I don't know, I think I was 10 or 11, and I said, it's a mix between evolution and the Big Bang. They took these monkeys and they changed them, and then they started evolving. Like, I said that, and people are like, oh my God, that's so wacky, that's not true, where do you get this stuff? It's like, oh, they're talking to me. And so anyways, I saw things a long time ago. And that's why I said when I heard some of that stuff, I was like, oh, see? And so, anyways, the, oh yeah, because of the sky thing. And what it just trips me out is because I see it so different. But when I was looking at it yesterday, my mom's like, it looks totally normal. I don't know what you think. It looks normal. And I don't think there's anything weird going on with the sky. It looks like it's looked for 80 years. And I'm like, she's like, in my time, I've seen skies that look like this. I'm like, man. And I'm thinking, in my 60, whatever plus years, I haven't seen it. And it's like, um, I've seen nothing but change since 2016. And it's weird looking. It does not look like anything that I grew up on. But I swear to God, I started thinking, I think people see what they want to see. I think, there's people who look out there and they see the same old sky that's always been there to them because that's what they see. That's how they perceive. It's almost like when you start perceiving this place isn't real, then you start seeing it. Oh, it really isn't real. This isn't real. And it's controlled. But there's going to be these pushes. Like the universe is pushing us to get to get it. And so there's going to be more of it. Every time some of these things that I'll realize, and it can be in conversations and stuff, I'll just be like, oh man, we got years to go with this. We got years to go. Because it's like the unraveling of something that was done so precisely and so tightly in people's minds. And there's so much that has to be let go of. But there's going to be these huge nudges, and there's going to be this abrupt thing, like the lights coming on. Like I heard at QHHT, one of them, I think it was one on Alice and Co., and they were saying that that this reality is falling apart, and it is looking different, and the people who are seeing it are seeing, the changes happening, and that, and it's because of our waking up that it's like that we create this reality all together. This is what she was saying. Like all of us create this reality together, and then as we wake up, then the reality starts shifting, and so it's like then we start seeing it. I'm gonna start scrolling at the same time. Then and I've got donuts today. Yesterday, because when we went over there, we ended up going to Yolks to the deli, and I got a couple of salad, like a bean salad and this corn salad thing, which I'm gonna make the corn salad into I'm gonna add cream cheese and make it into a dip for chips. And then the 3 bean, or I think this was 5 or 7 bean. It has the wax beans, it has all these different beans, green beans. I love that stuff. I haven't had that in a long time. And I wanted to taste a different one, but she gave me the wrong one. And I was like, oh my God, I love this stuff. I didn't even see that. So I got some of that and some pudding and some soup and some JoJo's. Now my mom's like, look at how she eats and she's so skinny. And so I'm telling you, it has, and I've been eating, more processed food. I think I think a couple of things about it. But I'm not sure on some of them. But one thing, I do think that eating more as the sun's coming up, not as the sun's going down, makes a difference, I think. So, and then being active during the day. And so, it's your fuel. So use the fuel up as the day's going down, use the fuel up, and then, you're good to go. You're not having to go to bed with excess that doesn't know what to do, so it just latches onto a fat pocket. So I guess I would say. So anyways, but it could also have to do with like spiritual or emotional, where you go more into your body that you love, and you love yourself, and you do things that you love, and you eat things that you love, and so you stay in a vibrational love, which you stay at your optimum. Like I don't know. 'Cause sometimes I am like, man, that is kind of weird, isn't it? But anyways, so anyhow, the the okay, just going down to the yolks, going to the deli. What the hell was I gonna say else about that? But anyways, I got deli food, so I got some food to eat today. My mom's not going to church today, though. She said she can't lose this hours. That was really, when she goes and does things, it really tires her out. And then she gets lots of sore things and stuff. Like, but there's certain things, like I know, but it still is. I don't know. There's still, even though people can start seeing, it's like they still haven't fully wrapped their minds around that aging isn't real. It still is like, yeah, but I've got all these things going, but it's like, duh, but that's all mineral deficiencies. That's all poisons and toxins and how it's affecting you. Like, it's all a different thing. So, and I'm telling you, if you're sore and stuff, you've got to do the stretches. You've got to stretch. Don't let, like, my back and stuff has been killing me. And you've got to push it through. You got to stretch, because otherwise it's just like the muscles tighten and tighten and tighten, and then you don't use them, they start atrophying and stuff, and then you become weaker and weaker and more sore. So you've got to be active and do a lot of stretching and stuff. So to me, yoga and stuff, like, to me, like, your perfect thing would do is, like, I think a little resistance. I have a resistance band and some weights, so I think some resistance is good. Which also, I had a whole nother epiphany about calisthenics, because once you make some of the muscles stronger, when you do the calisthenics, it's like you're holding the internal muscles. So you have an external muscle group and an internal muscle group, and so you do these workouts, you work them out, but then you start strengthening here. But then when you do the calisthenics, you can feel the internal muscle group so well, and you hold that really tight, and you hold it for like 60 seconds or something, then you let go. And then you do it again. That's calisthenics. It's holding these other muscles. So so there's different things, and it might go naturally in some yoga or Tai Chi or something. But to me, like Tai Chi and yoga, that's what they should be having kids learn in school and stuff too, instead of having them do all this other gymnasium stuff. They could have the kids who want to be on sports teams or whatever, the kids who like to do that, have them go through more of a gymnasium kind of workouts or stuff. But it should be more, in Tai Chi and yoga, are more like mental, connecting with yourself, and breathing. And so I think that there's better things that we can be doing, and I think that there's better ways to start teaching kids, of how to take care of themselves. Like, get up in the morning, do your your balancing and your breathing and your stretching, and connect to yourself. And then, you can move around a lot better. But a lot of people just get up, and then it's just like, oh, and then sit, and then it's just like, oh. You got to push through that, because otherwise it just deteriorates and makes it harder. And then you're convinced you're aging. But it's really just you not taking good enough care of yourself. But, people have been misled. People did think aging was real, and they all start kind of succumbing to it. Well, I'm getting older. Well, but the more resistant, because there was that group that was resistant, like, no, I'm not going to dress like, I'm not going to do that to my hair. No, I'm not going to follow the standard of, I'm going to go against it, go against the standards, go against them. And then you start seeing, like, well, when you go against them, then, it's a little different. And so there's a succumbing, there's a surrender to the storyline, and there's a resistance. Everything has the two sides. And so, and it is very much about you seeing yourself, you understanding your own self. Where are you in the resistance? Do you just succumb? Do you just follow the storyline? Which, no shame. I mean, you're going to learn. no matter what. Whatever you're doing is what you're supposed to do. You're not doing the wrong thing. You can judge yourself and you can feel like you're doing the wrong thing. You can judge yourself and think that, you're stupid and you should have done this differently and you should have known this sooner or whatever. That's kind of a waste of time. It's a lot better to just roll with the punches and keep on going, take your lessons and keep going. But don't sit there and beat yourself up too long. And there's lots of things. Like I have things, I wished I would have learned my patterns way sooner. I wish I didn't go through all those relationships that were so toxic and stuff. But I learned so much through that. It taught me who I was. It taught me who I wasn't, like it taught me the roles I was willing to play. You just see yourself, and that gives you the opportunity to heal yourself. Seeing yourself is healing yourself, but there's a lot of people who don't want to see themselves. They don't, and that's where, it's everybody else's fault, and they made me do this, they made me do that, and people don't want to see themselves. And that is like a lock-in in this world, and that is where, so much of this awakening has to do with this buying into these stories. And, why do you let someone else tell you what's real and what's not real? Why can't you just see it through your own being? And the control and the cap that they keep on that. It's like a cult. It's like a prison cell. It's like it keeps people very trapped spiritually. It is like a black box in a sense. Oh yeah, because then I just saw the Bible being this black box. It is a black box, isn't it? And so, anyways, but it keeps your spirit bound to a storyline that, there's many of us that say that's not an accurate storyline. That's not a creator that loves you. And it turns up a lot of hate and division, and it feeds a lot of ego. Like it's very toxic, and it's not, it's not where we're headed. We're not headed to be followers. We're headed to be leaders, but also it's to lead ourselves, to lead our families. But it's not to lead your family into conformity. It's to lead your family into confidence of being able to be comfortable with themselves and be confident in themselves. Which yesterday, all of a sudden, I just thought, and maybe it was when I was watching that movie or something, I was like, man, you tell somebody they're not good enough, or they can't do that. You can't do that. Oh, I think it was because what I was talking about yesterday morning in my 15 years of being told, I wasn't good enough. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I couldn't even fucking paint a room without, That's why my house, the one that I just left, was so significant to me. He showed me so much of the things I can do, so much of what I can do, and I can do a lot. And when I did the cabinets, and if I didn't want to fucking go in and put that stuff and sand them 10 times and do all that shit, I just wanted to fucking slap on some paint. Then could you imagine too if I would have done all that fucking work? And then I was already still the bathroom is still dang, that was a lot of money. But I did get to enjoy that fucking nice ass bathroom there for a few weeks. It was nice. And it is such a draw. I can't wait to have my own place again. I just want to have my own place so bad. My own bathroom, my own kitchen. I'm getting my stuff out again. My closet. I was already thinking, okay, if I get a 2-bedroom, I could fucking do a mobile home. But I'm trying to think more in that positive timeline. Yeah, but you don't have to go settle for, just take it. Think big. And so I'm trying to think big, but I don't need a ginormous house or anything. That's more room to clean, more room for people to hide. But I want to have a bedroom. I was thinking I could even change it. If I found an old farmhouse or something, and I could even knock a room down, or I could just think big and it comes this way with a giant walk-in closet where I can have access to all my clothes. But anyways, yeah, I want to eat, get there and get my clothes. Then I want to have my art studio. I gotta have a building for my art studio, so I can put my art out there. This house is gonna be pretty empty though, but that's the fun of refilling it. You know, it's like a creation of a new space. It's like what am I gonna do with this space? How am I gonna fix it? And then you not only have your space in your house, but then see that's also a limitation with rentals, which I could never fucking jive with, because you can't do things to your own space. It's someone else's space. You're just borrowing it and paying them a lot of money for it. But so to be able to create your space in there, but then to have your property, so to create your space out there and to be able to go out and, you know, because I want to have other buildings. Like I want a guest house. I don't want, I want a couple of guest houses. I don't want to have it that, you know, it used to be I had guest rooms and people come and you want to, you know, now it's like, no, I want a guest house. Like they get their space out there, which I think is more comfortable anyways. Like if you go to someone's house, the first time I went to someone's house though, and they had a guest house and they had us go stay out in their guest house, it did feel like, oh, they don't want us around or something. But now, now it's like, fuck, man, guest house are so much more comfortable. You don't feel like you have to be, you know, like you're in somebody else's house in their bedroom. I don't know. It's like a little Airbnb out back. So anyways, that's what I want for my space. And I want a big old closet for all my clothes so I can see them all at once with good lighting. Dressing table in there so I can have all my stuff out there. And then a bedroom. I want to have it. I want to have like a little dog room or whatever, you know, where they have their beds. You know, I don't know, because I want to have like a barn because I want to have animals. And maybe, you know, I'm not going to have some big working farm or something. I want to have a garden that I can grow my food. And I'm not going to have animals I kill, but I would like to have chickens that laid eggs. But I would like to have some rescue of some animals, you know? Like, some of these stories are so, like, there's so many animals that aren't perfect, that are just put to slaughter and killed and stuff. But there's goats, there's all sorts of things. So I would like goats and pigs, chickens. I would like a cow. Cows are so cool. This one guy had his video. Lots of people do videos with their cows and stuff, but he was playing guitar, and his big giant cow came and put his head. Fucking cows are so motherfucking big. This cow's head is like as big as his whole body. As he's sitting there playing guitar, and the cow's just leaning on him, just jamming on this music. I've seen so many cool things, like dogs being able to, this one playing the drum, like this person's playing this song and the dog knows when to hit the drums and stuff. Like, they're teaching dogs how to drive cars. They would, like, these beings that are getting undervalued by people. But you got to remember, these are these storylines. That's their own personal storyline. It's hard to witness some of this shit, but yeah, there's some dogs here to teach some lessons to some people, man. That's for sure. And dogs are very undervalued. It's the same kind of thing. Those are advanced spirits coming in for that experience, and they're here to teach us through these relationships, or these, you know, these ways that people treat them and stuff. So anyways, you're going to see more of that stuff playing out. And oh my gosh, yesterday when I was out here, there was someone shooting and shooting and shooting. So I go inside and I said, are you allowed to shoot out here? Is that whenever I hear gunshots, I'm always like, fucking duck and cover, man. What the fuck? Gonna get a fucking rogue bullet coming flying at you? And you don't know, there's people that do weird shit, man. Like, God, people are just weird when they get these things. And not all people. Like, some people are rational, but people who do weird things do weird things with these. Shoot up in the sky, and so just randomly shoot. Oh, well, I was trying to hit that. So anyways, I go up and ask her, and she said, no, they're not supposed to, but they do it all the time. And I said, oh, well, they're out there shooting, because there's tons of pheasant. Go out there, shoot the pheasant so they can get their dinner or something. And she's like, no, I think mostly everybody likes the pheasant running around. I mean, not pheasant, quail. not pheasant. Yeah, the pheasant, like, look, better run, son. But the quail, it's not much of a meal. But man, my dad brought him home and made us eat him when I was a kid, and it's horrible. You're spitting out buckshot. But yeah, and deer meat. We had to eat all that stuff. My dad was a hunter. Deers, pheasants, quail, all that. So anyways, so she said, but they shoot at the squirrels. Some of these people shoot squirrels, and she said that her friend who lives on the water said that they go out and just shoot the ducks and the geese for fun too. And there's turkeys around here, which I knew one guy who he thought that was just fun to shoot the turkeys, which when I first came, my mom had a couple out here. And they were the cutest thing. It was a guy and a girl just hung out together. And she said the last time when the flock came, these two stayed. And she said, I don't know if they got dismissed from the, like, I don't know what happened, but they stayed. And they're always together and they always take care of each other. So cute. And I know geese and ducks mate for life. So, I don't know, turkeys maybe too, but they couple up. And this guy who I knew, he shot him just because he thought it was funny. Just thought, that kind of stuff would freak me out. And I would be like, what the fuck? That's not funny. I've gotten in so many arguments with people over stupid shit that it's like, and that's horrible. And those things, like, god damn, yeah, can you imagine going to your life review and having to go through that perspective? Oh yeah, also, this is one thing. So the woman we were talking about when she was talking about the magical things that happened at her husband's accident, she also not only noticed that magic, but and then they'll always, give it to God, God, shining down and stuff. There's magic in this world, and it's all in these timing and stuff. And so it's not like, oh, well, they weren't there for that accident, they were for this one. Well, it's because they were supposed to be. It's because this is how it was supposed to work. And so, so she's one of the rescues. She's the one with the tons of horses. But she also rescues dogs too. She has 24 horses, and because she had 25, but one died yesterday, and the day before, one had just died, but he was 35 years old, and a lot of them come from really harsh situations and stuff, because they're all, she has all these rescues, but she has this one big dog that's 13. And she had another one, she said, that lived to be 16. See, I'm not crazy to try and, take care of Stella and get her up in the 15, 16 range, maybe even 20, because who knows what these dog med beds they say they're coming to. But anyway, so she said that she had this dog that she rescued. So this little blind poodle came in, and this is when she was still in Southern California. And so this little blind poodle came in, and this woman was real giant. And so she surrendered it because she said that she's worried that she's going to crush it and kill it. And so she wanted to surrender it. And so we brought in this little dog that wasn't taken care of. It was all matted, and all that stuff. So she was grooming it. And so she was trying to take care of it, get it ready. And the woman who was rescuing it, she was a pit bull rescue person. So she had tons of pit bulls. And so the one who I know, the one who has all the horses and stuff, so the one who was grooming him, she said, well, I'll take him. And so she took him, and she was, preparing him to be adopted and stuff. And so she was taking care of him, fostering him. But so then she has a friend who is an animal not animal psychic, can talk to animals. And so she went and to have her talk to this dog that's blind poodle. And the blind poodle started telling this woman that, yeah, he came from this other lady who thought she was going to sit on him and kill him. So she took him to this place to surrender him. And now he's with this other lady who he really, really likes. And so she said that was what made her decide she was going to keep him. She said that woman knew none of that stuff, and she was so accurate on the whole story, but the dog wanted to stay with her. So she's taken tons of animals for this conversational thing now, and she said it's just the craziest thing ever, because she can tell they're really talking to the dog. But and I almost said some stuff, but then I was like, okay, but that still is by this parameter. Okay, they're still living, and so they can talk to them and stuff. So, because, my daughter, she went to talk to one who was talking to her dog who's dead. That's another level. So, but, when you start going there, then you start understanding something lives on, and there's a soul, and you're communicating, but the dogs have souls. They know what the fuck is going on. They know things. And so, anyways, there's a lot of people who, there's a lot of cruelty going on with the dogs and stuff. And I wouldn't want to be facing that stuff. And some of these people are going to be facing that, seeing this, experiencing it through their eyes, the cruelty, being abandoned. Like, there's going to be a lot of stuff, man. It's going to really hurt people when they start realizing, because I do think that this awakening is semi life review. It's like you go back over things. And so anyways, it's going to keep going. The sky is going to keep falling. Like, everything is going to keep going. It's already set. We're already in the motion of the ocean. We're already in the motion of change. We're going towards this. It's the swinging back. And at some point, yeah, we're going to feel it. But the one lady who was saying that we create this, all of us together create this reality, and it's falling apart because some of us are waking up. She said that it's going to keep falling apart, but then all of a sudden it's going to go dark. She said it just goes like blackout, and then she said it comes back on, but it looks different. So it would be like different colors, and she said it's more different, but it's like we created the new one too. So it's like, we all want lots of colors, and but it's not going to be these chemical colors in the sky. I don't know if that blows it up and then it comes back. We got glitter sky or something. I don't know. But there keeps being this sense of there's the darkness, and then all of a sudden the lights come on. And that, to me, is like what's going to happen. That's the awakening. You're in the dark, and then all of a sudden the lights come on. And it's like, what? It's like these aha moment. And but the crazy thing is so many people awaken to one thing, and then they just stay there, just paddling along. And so it's so much more broad. And the ultimate thing is getting up to, you as the soul, and this, the recognition of this world for what it is. So there's still, we got a ways to go. 117, we got ways to go. So, and then it's time for me to go. So anyway, see, it's starting to go back to the white part again. And and it is sensitive. As this is going, it's definitely sensitive. I'll be glad. I bet you even once it gets fully on there, I bet you it's sensitive for a while. So anyways, just remember what we're doing here. Change 18. Back to where we started from. So just remember what we're doing here. We're learning how to love ourselves, love everyone, and how to have a loving day, because it's totally up to you. So I'll talk to you tomorrow.